what's important to mention here is that we are in the second phase of the corporate journey of DWS after the IPO. And this phase is called growth. And we want to grow organically as well as inorganically.
Stuart, maybe first from your side, in the kind of pre-call or preparation call, you mentioned the bigger get bigger, and this is kind of the biggest trend. And then afterwards, I would like to have Nicolas in there, because he said in the preparation call, constantly getting bigger is a risk for operations. So let's maybe start the M&A topic with you guys first, and then we of course will hear which asset manager DWS takes over in the next weeks.
Sure. I mean, I'll happy to put forth my thoughts on the topic. I mean, I'm sure all of us have watched in the industry over the last 10 or 15 years. They've been talking about the consolidation of the asset and wealth management business has been going on forever, but it really does feel like it's here today, right? So in the last 12 months, I think there have been 200 and almost 300 deals done. You've seen small deals, large deals. And the activity, maybe not at record levels, but is very, very high. And I think there are really two reasons for what you're seeing. One is to me, M&A is about either scale or capability. And for us, I can tell you as PGIM, we're less interested in the former and very interested in the latter. So to the extent that we already are $1.5 trillion. So the idea of us, I mean, of course, we want to have more scale, but to try to do it through M&A can be very disruptive to an organization, which tends to lead to being disruptive portfolios and being disruptive to clients. That to us is counterproductive. Having said that, if we can add capability to our portfolio of capabilities, we're actually very happy to do so. And I think it touches on some of the things that people have said earlier, which is, I think it's very hard to convince somebody that you're all things to all people, that you're best in class in everything. Therefore, to try to create something, a portfolio of one form or capability from scratch, I think is harder than if you buy someone who has an established track record, AUM, investment process, and the like. So we've been active in that space. We bought a company called Montana Partners, which is based out of Switzerland, which is a secondaries business last year. We also bought a company in the US called Green Harvest that has a unique approach to direct indexing and customization of separate accounts. And so to the extent we can find things to add to our portfolio, we're happy to do that. And I think you'll see more of it in the industry as valuations in the markets unfold.
You threw the ball to me, Tim, and very, very sorry to disappoint you here.
I had to try.
Yeah, no, it was a good try actually, but unfortunately, I cannot deliver. Now, seriously, I think what's important to mention here is that we are in the second phase of the corporate journey of DWS after the IPO, and this phase is called growth. And we want to grow organically as well as inorganically. That's mentioned by Asoka, and I can repeat this. So there's several things we want to do. One thing is we do want to invest more in our active and alternative platform, as we already discussed this alternative. And still, I mean, it's not everyone is investing into passive. I mean, there's still, people who want to have an active approach. And so we want to invest in our active and alternative platform. At the same time, we do want to invest in our passive platform. I mean, we're generating strong growth there. So I think it makes sense to grow there organically. Okay. Talking about M&A, of course, and I totally agree to Stuart. What you want to have is you don't want to have the same, the same setup, the same, region, the same skill set. You want to be complementary, don't you? You want to find new skills or new distribution channels. So yes, so it has to make sense, and not at every and each price. This is for sure. I think even more important of M&A ideas is partnerships. I think partnership models become more and more interesting, not having all the, the costs of integration of an M&A deal. But we have existing partnerships who work working quite nicely, and maybe we find new partnerships here, especially in markets where we are today not as strong as we should be.
Björn, what are examples of those partnerships? What type of, do you mean like sub-advisory relationships, or are you talking distribution?
Joint ventures, like corporations in terms of, skills and bringing them together in one product or in one solutions. Yeah, these kind of things.
And,
yeah.
I think you make a great point.
Maybe if I can add, on the M&A, I think that it's true that you have two ways of looking for M&A. It's one is scale / operating leverage. Second is access to capabilities. I would maybe name a third one, which is access to a market, distribution market. For instance, that's the model of Amundi that bought some asset manager because that was giving them an access to Italy, giving them an access to Spain, giving them an access to the different markets, which is another model. But I think that overall, it's fair to say that I think that if we list all the acquisitions that have been made just for scale, just for operating leverage, I think a majority have failed to deliver value for the customer. And that's fact, simply because we know that even if you do this work very efficiently, it's create a lot of turbulence to staff. Consultant hates that usually, so you blacklisted from consultant for 2 to 3 years at least, and then it's pretty rare that you're really adding a lot of value. So I definitely agree that for me, the good thing is to look at from a capability standpoint. I think that this is the way to access to well-established track record with assets instead of building from scratch. Because even if you do a lift out, yeah, you can get talent, but you still have the assets to build, and you still have the track record to build. So I think that this would be a way. Operating leverage, I think it's a disaster. And that's very much linked to our industry. It's different from other industry. If I talk, for instance, the example of the private banking, operating leverage in private banking works well because the way you can act and the way you can implement these acquisition, it's much easier. But on the asset management, the zillion of examples where at the end of the day, it was a killer for both companies.
Sorry, Nicolas, on this point, I disagree on the private banking market because there comes another factor in the game. These are people working together or not working together. So in my eyes, the key success factor is not the buying some companies or something, so the post-merger integration. That's the key factor because you have to bring the people together on the table. And if you have something like a basis, an operation basis, where you would like to put more workload on top, so you think about your operation basis. But most of these private banking teams, in our eyes, are just soldiers, on the other hand, who would like to leverage their wages. That's all. And you know how many clients they can take with them. These are less than 20% in the end. They take over to the new company, even though you merge them. They look for a new basis because the culture, as we said, the culture is the main thing in the companies. And so,
yeah.
So we disagree a little bit, okay?
No, but it's good because then at least we have a debate, because I will definitely disagree based on our experience at UBP. I think that probably we've made 25 acquisitions over the last 20 years. And I can tell you that when you look at the outcome and the payback of all acquisition, they are very interesting. But when you're right, you need to have the culture to welcome those people. If you have a culture which is very stiff, very rigid, that's where the problem is starting from. You need to have a culture, and I agree with you. Not all of banks can get this welcome culture, but you need to provide a culture where the bankers have the feeling that they can continue to do the work with, I would say, a better range of product. If a banker, they have the feeling that they have a good platform with even more products and they continue to do their job, usually you can keep them very happy. But it's all about culture. I fully agree with you. If tomorrow you put them in a box they are not happy with, that's the starting. That's why I do believe that some people, some private bank can do acquisition, and some of them it's very difficult because of your culture. Not because it's good or wrong, but it's depending on your culture.
We should stay in contact because it's the same thing we saw. And if you just need them as a new sales force, it doesn't work out. So you have to leave them in their own space, own entrepreneurship, own advice space, and everything is fine. Agree.
Yeah.